like to tell my viewers that this is Tara from the channel She Saves, He Invests, They Travel, bringing to you personal finance stories and travel tips that work for ordinary people. And we have a really exciting guest today, Kostadin Prokopiev, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself and kind of tell his story because he has a great story and he's really embarking on an exciting initiative that I think is relevant to all the viewers of this channel. So welcome, Costa, and go ahead and start by telling me about yourself, where you're from, your previous and present jobs.
Well, first of all, hi, Tara. Hello to everybody in the channel. I am Costa, and I am an immigration specialist here in Valencia. I am Bulgarian. I was born and raised in the capital of Bulgaria, which is Sofia. And in 2013, when I graduated high school, I decided to come to Spain in order to study law. During my second year of the law degree, I found passion for immigration law. Myself, being an immigrant here, I was pretty close to the procedures and everything because I had to go through them. And I actually found out that it's a whole world that you need a lifetime you need to spend a lifetime exploring, especially here in Spain. So yes, in my second year, I actually met other Bulgarian lawyers here in Valencia, with whom I still keep in touch. One of which is actually my business partner now. So I have a lot of experience, especially with European Union citizens here in Valencia.
Well, you've been here in Spain since 2013, so you've gotten your permanent residency by now.
I did, yes. I actually got my permanent residency last year. Uh, Thank you, thank you. I know usually I can get it after 5 years, and I'm actually, since my permit does not have an expiration date, I'm not entirely obliged to get it. But I decided to just go ahead and request my permanent residency, which can get me one step closer to getting a Spanish passport.
And things were a little bit different for you because Bulgaria is part of the EU, or no?
That is absolutely correct. Bulgaria is a part of the European Union since 2007, which makes my relocation to Spain a far easier and less complicated process than, for example, an American citizen that wants to come to Spain.
Oh, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I just wanted to back up for a second. So you have a background in law, and you were an immigrant who went through the process of immigrating to Spain. And I heard a rumor that you're going to start, or have already started, a Spanish immigration consultancy. Is that true? And if so, where did that idea come from, and what made you start it?
Right. So the end of last year, me and my girlfriend, we decided to leave Valencia and actually move to Barcelona. However, one thing led to another, and we ended up back here in Valencia. It just didn't work out the way we planned. So we came back in January, and by late February of this year, I was approached by one of the Bulgarian lawyers here with this idea to set up a company now that I have a lot more experience, now that we know more procedures, and it was just the most logical thing to do, I guess. She actually approached me in the right moment when I was actually in a need of something new, a different adventure for myself. And that's how we started actually planning on opening up the company here in Valencia. We've managed so far to have our own website. Of course, marketing has been going since even before the website was online. And currently, we're in the process of looking for a place, an office. We're currently looking for an office space. At this moment, I'm working from home. She's working from her own office, which is not in Valencia. And should we need to use some office space to meet with clients, we use an office space of one of her colleagues, which is located here in the heart of Valencia.
What is the name of your consultancy?
The company is called K&N Mobility Investments, and it's basically a consulting company which offers legal and immigration services and property purchase services to expats living in Spain. We're not limited by any autonomous community. We work within the whole of Spain, and um, at this moment, we're also talking to another company so that we can maybe conduct a merge, at least combine ideas and use more and more people and actually expand the K&N idea to the city of Madrid. But this is still being planned. So I guess I would rather not talk about this part of setting up the company.
Right. The scaling. First you gotta make sure the first office is solid with a lot of clients and revenue, and then yeah.
Actually, the demand is pretty high thanks to marketing. The demand is pretty high.
I imagine those are much needed services. I mean, immigrants really get overwhelmed by the process because it can be overwhelming and just so foreign. And I've met a lot of people that say, I just don't want to think about this. I want to pay somebody to think about this for me.
Exactly. We are pretty much exactly that. We are a painkiller and a stress reliever. You know, just to put it in layman's terms. I guess this is the best and most logical way for one to not feel stressed, just to hire someone and get this thing sorted by a professional, especially one located in Spain, and especially one who has experience or has gone through the same procedure.
Yes, I definitely know plenty of Americans who would gladly give you their money because they are so overwhelmed just by student visas and just by little like teaching English abroad or doing what is the program that's government sponsored, and there's some private companies that offer you to come over and work 20 hours a week in private schools or public schools. In the Auxiliar program, you teach English in public elementary and high schools for 8 to 9 months and receive 700 euros per month for 12 hours a week of work, or 1,000 euros per month for 16 hours a week per work in Madrid. It's the simplest type of visa, and they can't do it themselves. They're just like, I don't want to do it by myself. I know a woman who paid $800.
I get what you're saying here. I really encourage every foreigner that plans to move to Spain or is already in Spain and is in need of legal assistance just to hire somebody. It's the best move. It's just the best move. I did that when I came here, and I have to say, thank God I did, because I was in a rush with my enrollment papers at university. So thank God I found an immigration specialist then who could help me out with my own residence permit.
And yours is a little bit easier than what a lot of people who are outside the EU have to go through. And like I said, a student visa is easier than a golden visa or a non-lucrative visa or autonomo or the entrepreneurship visa. And there's a new visa coming out, and we'll talk about all those. But I think you've explained a little bit about where the idea came from and what some of your goals are for the company. For example, you want to expand to Madrid. But is there anything else you want to say about your vision or goals for the company, 5 years out, 10 years out?
I guess the plan to get a lot more people in the company, to get a lot of people involved within our idea and our plan, and just to have as many colleagues as possible in the company, and many passionate specialists in immigration law who speak several languages. That's key, so that we can offer our service in as many languages as possible in as many countries as possible, thus becoming a proud competitor on the market.
That sounds like you're going to offer an excellent service to people all around the world.
Well, fingers crossed, I guess. So far, so good.
So what stage are you in the startup process? It sounds like you've got a website, you've got a marketing team, you've got one office open in Valencia with plans to expand to Madrid. But have you filed as a LLC, which I guess is like an S corp in Spain or anything like that?
Yes, correct. It's a limited liability company. You're right. That's the correct abbreviation. We're currently in the process of registering our company within the commercial registry here. We need just to fill out some paperwork and actually present it. And then once that is set up, we would just go to the notary's office and set up the company officially, legally, so that everything is according to the law, the letter of the law.
So this is still very early stages. What initially brought you to Spain and why Valencia?
Right. So I decided to come to Spain when I was 2 years before I graduated high school. I actually in high school I studied Spanish only. Um, so I had two options actually, either to go to the UK and study, like many of my generation did, or pick another country and just go there. To me, the choice was pretty easy. Actually, I just wanted to come to Spain. I've been here several times. I've been to the coast. I've been to Valencia, Alicante, Barcelona, Madrid. I've been around. And actually, in the beginning, I wanted to study in Alicante. That's a fun story. I wanted to study in Alicante, but the University of Alicante does not offer a legal degree in English, and I wanted to study in English. Yeah. So the best I could find at that time was a law degree here in the University of Valencia that offered 50% English education and 50% Spanish. At this time, many years later, now if I've heard correctly, they offer 100% degree in English, which is, I guess, they've completed that goal that they set when I actually started studying. So that's the reason why I chose Valencia. Apart from that, the Faculty of Law here is just 3 stops away from the beach with the tram. So it's I was sold. I was sold pretty quick.
Okay, so what is an EU residence permit and who is eligible to get one and how does one get one? Sorry, I've shifted gears a bit. I took a far left turn from Paella.
Not a problem. Well, the name speaks for itself, really. The EU residence permit is a residence permit for EU citizens. Um, it's um, it's given to EU citizens who are planning on staying for more than 3 months in Spain. Of course, there are there are several different ways for one to obtain that residence permit. Um, First of all, if you have a job, if you get offered a working contract here in Spain, that's one way. If you plan on starting up your own business, that would be the second way to register yourself as as a self-employed person, also known as autónomo here in Spain. The third one would be proof of financial funds, which has absolutely nothing to do with the funds for a non-lucrative visa. It's completely different.
Okay.
Um,
Huh.
the fourth one would
I just
be
assumed they were exactly the same criteria.
no. No. Being an EU citizen gives you several privileges, one of which much lower um, lower proof of funds, not the 28 or so thousand euros, but rather around eight, so 20 times
Oh
the euros.
my, that is a huge
Yes.
advantage. Because to renew, you have to have 2 years. And so if it's almost, $30,000 for a year, say you have a dependent like a husband or a wife or a child, that's, another 500 euros per month that you have to show. So about $30,000 times 2 years is $60,000. For a lot of people, that's kind of hard to show, and basically they want to see it in a checking account or a savings account. They don't really like to see it in the form of assets that you can liquidate or sell off a little bit here and there. Not the average person doesn't have that in that form.
That's true. However, the average person is not the target for the non-lucrative visa. The non-lucrative visa is targeted for retirees, people who have spent 20 or 30 or 40 years working and have gathered up a lot of savings, and they just want to spend um, a lot to spend their retirement years here in Spain. So that's actually the main target of the non-lucrative visa, which is more and more limited now as per requirements because of the soon to be the newest visa that the Spain offered, the Spanish administration would offer, and I'm talking about, of course, the digital nomad visa.
I'm excited to learn more about it. I understand that it hasn't really officially debuted yet. They're still kind of working on it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It still hasn't been launched officially, and so far, what one can find out online may or may not be applicable when the visa is actually launched. So I would encourage people to wait until the Spanish administration launches it officially on their website uh, before they start gathering documents or starting to search for information and everything. I would suggest just wait until everything is official. Of course, our company, K&N Mobility Investments, will make several posts in our social media accounts as to the launch, the official launch of the digital nomad visa.
So, what is an EU family member residence permit?
Right. So the EU family member residence permit is aimed at non-EU citizens who are family members of EU citizens. Just to give you an example, an American citizen an American woman is married to a French man, just for an example. And both of them want to move and settle down here in Spain. So the French man will obtain his EU residence permit, as we've discussed before. Um, and afterwards, after that residence permit of that EU citizen, of the French person, is obtained, then the American citizen can apply for an EU family member residence permit. Of course, all the documents that need to be prepared and submitted for that EU family member residence permit will mainly come from the EU citizen. That is, if he applied for his permit with a working contract, then we will get his working contract. If he applied as a self-employed person, then the documents that are for the self-employment registration. And then if the European Union citizen applied with by proving funds, then we will need to show that they have sufficient funds for both of them here in Spain. And of course, the main and most important document, I would say, would be, in this case, a marriage certificate, pretty much indicating the relation between the French citizen and the US citizen, following my example. So
Which
once
probably has to be apostilled.
that is correct. However, it may not be depending on where they got married. There's sometimes those types of couples decide to get married within the EU just because they think it may be better. And for the purposes of getting residency in Spain, it is better. In case that this couple, following my example, got married in France, then their marriage will be registered in France. Therefore, they can issue a special marriage certificate, which is regulated by one of the European Union regulations that does not need to be translated nor apostilled and will be valid here in Spain. Yeah.
I had to get mine. I got married in the UK, and then the UK left the EU. I had to get a translation and apostilled.
Yeah, well, that was very unfortunate with the Brexit. Actually, nobody expected that this would get to where it got. At the beginning, even I was pretty skeptical. I thought it was going to be just another fluke. I don't know. It's like a quick news. It's today, but you forget it tomorrow. But it turned out to be much, much bigger than that.
And now a lot of your clients will be British people, and they're going to be treated exactly like Americans.
That is correct. That is correct. I've heard rumors that it doesn't go both ways. So European citizens that go to the UK. So the other case is actually that the procedures are not as complicated. So this is, yeah, it was just a rumor. I have a friend who actually went there to work, to actually just start up his own business, and he told me that actually he got his papers rather quickly. And I told him that if it were the other way around, especially for Spain, I don't know about other European Union countries, but in Spain, it would have taken a long time, and the bureaucracy surrounding that would have been overwhelming, even for an immigration specialist. We mentioned that you would need a marriage certificate, and of course, it has to be apostilled and translated in case the marriage was conducted outside of the European Union, in most cases. And then once we have all this documentation, we present it online, and within 3 or 4 months' time, on average, within Spain, I would say, 3 or 4 months' time, the favorable resolution is given for the residency application, after which the non-EU citizen, that is the American in my example, would have to apply for her TIE card, similar. Yeah, this is unlike the EU residence permit, where once you have all the documents, you attend an appointment at the police station. You present those documents, and if everything is fine, you are given your residence permit on the spot. Yep, it's actually it's not plastic like yours. It's a piece of paper. Really, has no photo, no fingerprints, no nothing. No fingerprints for an EU residence permit. No photo either. So I think this has to do with the unified system for biometrics in the European Union. I think that's the reason why. I've never asked, I never bothered to ask, but this is what I really think is the case. Also, as mentioned, for the EU family member, there is no criminal background check needed for that application. No,
Sure is a pain in the butt trying to get one.
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine, especially from the States. I've had so many clients. I mean, in the company, we currently now have a client who's been waiting for more than 3 weeks for the document to be issued.
Which
And
is
then we
terrible
have to
because
wait.
these documents expire in 3 months.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Exactly. So you need to take that into account as well.
Right.
So no criminal record, no criminal background check for none of the EU-related residence permits.
There's a lot of perks to being an EU resident.
There are, or being married to one.
Right.
There really a lot of perks. I've heard of cases where people, actually in real cases, where people have registered as a pareja de hecho, which is a civil partnership here in Spain. Also, another possibility for you to obtain the EU family member residence permit, as long as, of course, that registration is completed in accordance with the regulations and laws of the autonomous community where you plan on settling down.
It's an incredible privilege, I think, that Spain offers that, and Bulgaria, because not all democracies do. And I also cannot wrap my brain around arraigo irregular, like where people are in irregular situations and they just kind of stay illegally in the country for X number of years, and then they prove that they did that, and basically they prove they broke the law, and then Spain's like, yeah, sure, you can stay legally. What?
Well, actually, this is one of the services that we offer in our company, the arraigos. I understand where you come from with that. However, it's not that simple to request an arraigo. I mean, it's not just you come here and you stay illegally for 2 or 3 years and then you apply for an arraigo and then they give you a residence permit for 1 year. It's not that simple. I mean, keep in mind that if you decide to pursue that path, I don't know how one decides to do that. Really, you commit to staying in Spain for 3 years or two. So no traveling back home, right? You need to find a job. You need to find a way to integrate here in order to be eligible for an arraigo. I mean, the procedure itself is not as simple as it sounds. Yes, it is targeting people that are here and that are staying in Spain illegally. However, it's not that simple. to request it. You need to have done at least something to prove that you've tried to integrate yourself within the Spanish community.
Well, I imagine it's better to give people a pathway to residency and then ultimately citizenship than to encourage them to remain marginalized. I mean, we want them integrated and paying into taxes and different social support systems. And I wonder if these people in these arraigo situations tried other paths and then something just happened where they were waiting a really long time and the wait caused them to overstay their visa and then they became irregular. I'm being generous here. I don't know how people.
Yeah, there are plenty of cases. There are plenty of cases. What you just described is, yes, it's one of the common ones, I would say, but there are many cases. There are many reasons why one would remain here for many years, not sort out his or her immigration documents like residence permits. So yeah, I guess it just goes on it's just particular to each case, but everybody has a reason. And unfortunately, some people don't want to end up requesting this document. They would much rather prepare, like, for example, an EU family member permit on time or a visa on time, just to be considered a legal immigrant here in Spain. And what I find in expats, most expats, especially the non-EU ones, is that they're really focused and they're really focused on actually getting the right permit for themselves, which I admire, which is great. Yeah, I really like that because that means that you're mentally prepared for example, all the apostilla and the translations that procedure that this procedure will involve, or the fact that it's valid for only 3 months. So you kind of mentally prepared that it's going to be a tough fight, with bureaucracy, but you're doing it because you want to be a legal immigrant and not just to be in Spain illegally.
Okay, well, my concluding question is kind of a fun one. What are your predictions regarding our generation in the future, millennials, and Gen Z even, as far as immigration and work? Are you noticing that more young people are having trouble finding work where they were born, where they grew up, and they're traveling further and further away, even leaving their countries of origin, looking for higher quality of life, better work opportunities, etc.? Or do you think that it's going to go the other way and borders are going to start closing and it's going to be more restrictive and harder to get visas and to move abroad for work or family reasons?
Well, on the contrary, on the closing of borders, actually, since the COVID crisis kind of calmed down, at least in the European Union, I think borders are opening and will be more open, especially now with the digital nomad visa being around the corner. And I guess traveling will resume and actually will become even more because people would want to travel more, especially now that most countries actually lowered their COVID requirements for entry.
All right. So as I was saying, in my opinion, it's just the borders are going to open, and a lot more people will actually start traveling. The restrictions will be gone, in my opinion, within 1 year or so, because people get vaccinated all around the world. So I guess traveling will be something that people would definitely be doing more and more in the near future, in my opinion. When it comes to the difficulties that young people, the millennials and the Gen Z find, and as you mentioned in the question, they need to travel to other countries in order to find better paid jobs or higher quality of life and everything. I'm not entirely sure I can be objective because I come from a country which is the poorest country in the European Union. So I've seen with the people from my generation, they decided to move out of the country to study. Many of them came back in order to work. Very few of us actually stayed, but in my in general, what I've grown into, like in Bulgaria, this was very normal. People go abroad, people leave the country just to go somewhere else to seek better quality of life. So I'm not sure if I can be objective, but from what I see, at least in the European Union, at least in the expat communities here in Valencia, I see that people they don't really want to travel to other countries in order to seek better quality of life when they can find that, or at least they would be satisfied with a lower quality of life in their own home country as long as they are home. However, the digital nomad visa, I guess one of the biggest changes that the digital nomad visa can bring would be that sense of, just go ahead and give it a go. Just go there, go to another country, see if it's for you or not, for several months. And if you seem to like it, if you end up liking it or you want to stay there, just stay there. I guess it's going to be easier for people to make that choice just to check things out, and we'll actually start exploring other opportunities more. At least that's my opinion. But in general, if we're talking about, for example, people from our generation to start their own business, especially here in Spain, what I can recommend to anyone starting their own business here in Spain is make sure you know your taxes right. You need to know everything about taxes before you start up your own company. You need to be very informed of every single thing, and I'm talking about state taxes, autonomous community taxes. You need to be very aware of that before you start your company, because if you're not, you may end up closing shop pretty quickly.